तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथन्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, सीता कल्याणम की, समवेत भक्त वृंद की, नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे कृष्णा। I am very happy and privileged to be here with all of you on this very wonderful occasion of this beautiful festival, taking us into the Lord's pastime of getting married to Sita, and through the rituals of the marriage. It is a very privileged occasion. I'm also happy to be here at the understanding that you're going to establish a beautiful temple of a community here. So by hearing a little bit as the marriage was being performed, I was just recollecting this beautiful pastime. How Lord Ramachandra's pastime of performing a marriage, Supreme Personality of Godhead doesn't have to get married in a normal way according to Varnashrama principles. But Krishna did also enact in his Leela pastime of getting married. He had 16,108 wives. That's an amazing number. And there were principal queens he had in Dwaraka. And he got married to each one of them in amazing ways. The Manu Samhita describes 8 types of marriages: Brahma, Arsha, Rakshasa, Paisachija, all sorts of marriages. Of course, today we have many more added to the list: internet marriages, Tinder marriages, that, this, everything. We need to maybe tweak the list of marriages a little bit. But a traditional marriage according to Vedic custom, Krishna got married in different ways. He covered almost all the varieties of marriages and maybe added some more to it also. And these pastimes of the marriages are very interesting, not because of it being marriage itself, but it because of the fact that the Lord is performing it. And each time he performs it in such a wonderful way that it sort of brings us into his beautiful pastimes, into relationships. His relationship with Sita, his relationship with Janaka Maharaj, his relationship with King Dasharath, his relationship with Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, and all of them. Those are things that attract us very much. If you read the Ramayana, you will see, not only during this wedding, but during all other wonderful pastimes of the Lord, he was drawing us very close by seeing the very beautiful interactions with his devotees, his relatives, and people around him. Ramanujacharya mentioned that no human being can be so perfect in his relationships with everybody, play those roles so wonderfully. It's impossible for us to do that, isn't it? How many of you are struggling with maintaining relationships? Raise your hand. I know every one of you, some of you are half upway down because your husband is close by or something, or somebody else is thinking of somebody else who's around. But everybody has got challenges in maintaining relationships. But Ramachandra was so perfect and so successful in maintaining almost all the relations in spite of many challenging situations. In spite of many such challenging situations. So Ramanujacharya said, because he is able to do that, and because no human being can actually do that, he must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was one proof of the fact that he is God. So you will see these endearing, very attractive relationships maintained. In fact, in human life, this is what is the crux of living a good, enriching life. Relationships with the people who matter to us very much, isn't it? That's the most important thing. In fact, people go through all sorts of austerities, all sorts of difficulties, anything and everything to be able to maintain a relationship, because you get something out of a relationship. A very deeply subtle gratification on the level of the soul, a soul-to-soul relationship brings. So also our relationship with the Supreme Godhead. The relationship with the Supreme Godhead we have is one of the most choicest and most cherished of all our relationships. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Pitaham asya jagato mata data pitamaha. I am your father, I am your mother, I am your grandfather, I am your great-grandfather, I am everything to you. All relationships spring from me. I am the fountainhead of all relationships. In fact, he is the central networking system of all the different relationships we have. You know? Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. So all our relationships in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, they become very successful if they are having as a central node the Supreme Lord. Then all the relationships become very perfectly connected. That's what you can hear from Ramayana and from this pastime. That the Lord is in the center and everybody is connected with Him in some way or the other. Even as subjects, they are related to Him. Even as relatives, they are related to Him directly. Even as kings, even as enemies, they are also related to Him, some way or the other. Because He had that capacity and He is the Supreme Lord. So we have relationships in this world and they last till we live in this world. But Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, our relationships with Him are eternal and forever. So Vedic society, especially marriage, is a Vivaha Yajna Samskara. It is one purificatory ceremony for a cultured human being that he needs to go through in order to be able to purify his relationships gradually with the community around him, with people he's committed and taken a responsibility for, and through that to cultivate his lost relationship with God. So marriage, in human society, marriage is also a very important event that connects us in a relationship. You develop a new relationship and you get so many relatives just by the bride and bridegroom getting married. Everybody from the bride side is related to the bride side. Everybody else from the groom side is related to the groom. They also become relatives automatically. Right? So in this way, connecting ourselves in a relationship with the Lord automatically connects us with everybody else in a relationship. This is the root point. That's why in the cultural ethos, we always have a community relationship of people belonging to our family, people belong to the family's family, and in this way you have even persons who may not be directly belonging but become part of the community, and they're all centered around a central fulcrum, a focus relationship on God. So it's amazing to know that society in many places of the world are moving towards community development. Because this was the framework and this is how human society existed in the past. In India, you'll hear a lot about this. Although there's criticism that in India, before the Britishers came, before the Mughals came, there were a lot of warring factions of small kings here and there ruling who didn't know how to do things and they fought with each other. It was all a big mess. They were not good. And the Britishers came in and set things right and made everything equal. The whole of India got governance and every facility together. It's wrong. Whole of India was getting homogenized, just as much the whole of the world is getting homogenized through globalization. But homogenization takes away your individuality. What's greatly happening to us in the modern world is community living, in which rich relationships are afforded, is being seriously affected by the type of economy that we are in. In the economy that we are in, it's necessary to globalize, it's necessary to make people all working, necessary elements in the whole economy. But the rich price you pay for that is on human relationships and on communities that we live in, sacrificing those community relationships we have. That's why in India there's a model that people have a joint family system, and before that there were people, joint families living joint together in a huge community, and there was a temple in the center and everybody was growing around the temple. Throughout India you had so many temples. Even today, I'm just coming from, I came from Malaysia, and before that I was in Singapore. Before that I was in India, and we were taking a serious look at how we do things in Kerala. And I came to know that in Kerala there are 8,000 temples. And a lot of them are old temples. This is one model. Of course, the Mughals came and destroyed many of the temples and all that. But these are not simply temples of a religiously fanatic society. They are thriving. They are rich societies, communities of rich relationships. And each one of them was relating with each other so wonderfully, and they were extremely happy, and they were living highly enriched lives. Very rich lives. And then I am not even talking about the economic situation. The economic situation was a byproduct of this rich, culturally rich, devotionally rich, relationshiply rich society. The economy was a byproduct of this. Economy was not the main thing, and out of that, as a byproduct, relationships and society and community did not come forth like that. In India, before the Britishers came, 27% of the world's produce was from India. The GDP of India was the highest in the world. And then the Britishers, sorry to say, systematically brought down that great culture, saying that you guys are beastly, you practice some funny religion. In the words of Winston Churchill, he said, I hate Indians, they are beastly people who practice a stupid religion and they breed like rabbits. He uses his words when he was asked why there's a great famine. They had absolutely no understanding of the rich cultural heritage, due to which reason the quality of lives of everybody was so great, highly enriched. That was a God-centered society, and there were many small communities all around, and the king did not boss over and try to homogenize everybody. He just looked after all of them. Practice God consciousness where you're practicing within your communities and your rich relationships. I protect everybody so that you'll be able to do this and live enriched lives. So Karl Marx reflected that in India there are so many small thriving units which are extremely good at producing things and maintaining their culture, and they live a very enriched life. They should share this with the rest of the world. Karl Marx is known to have commented that about the way India was situated, and they were very well known. Why? Because they're made of small communities of people, and there was interaction amongst other communities. There were exchanges, there were cultural festivals, there were all sorts of things going on. Generally speaking, people were very happy. And it is all based on the fact that they were worshipping one supreme Godhead, and all their relationships were connected to that one supreme Lord. Krishna, Ramachandra. And just like Ram Rajya means, not that only the governance was very good, the governance was a byproduct of the fact that everybody was very completely, faithfully worshipping the Supreme Lord Ramachandra and having a relationship with him. A godless society is very difficult to maintain communities with rich relationships. That's being very challenging. So Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada, he started this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And he spoke to us a lot about unity and diversity. And he said this movement will spread all over the world. All over the world. And he personally went and spread this community all over the world. In many places. Within 12 years, it established 108 centers all over the world. And he did not feel challenged by the diverse, different cultural backgrounds of different types of people. But he was able to bring them around on the same basis of God consciousness. He said the whole world can be homogenized on the basis of their faith in God. But they can still retain their diversity in terms of their individuality, in terms of their ethnic backgrounds and everything. That doesn't matter. And that's exactly what was going on in India before the Mughals came. They were all different ethnical groups. Even today in India, there's a diversity. If you go to Andhra, it is different. If you go to Tamil Nadu, it is different. If you go to Madhya Pradesh, it is different. If you go to Kashmir, it's completely different. People eat even different foods. Their habits are different. The language is completely different. Many things are different, but India is together one in many ways. That's a small example, a sample of what it was. So nothing wrong in being diverse in terms of certain habits and everything, but you can still live together on the basis of relationship with the Supreme Godhead. This is the mission of Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada. He didn't try to homogenize people on the basis of their certain cultural differences, their ethnic backgrounds, or certain eating habits, or dressing habits, or cultural habits. But rather, he said you get unified on the basis of having a relationship with that one Supreme Godhead. And this is the mission of Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada. It's already proving to be very successful in many places all over the world. People worship Krishna, Ramachandra, and they all come together from different backgrounds, and they have uniquely strong relationships. The world is talking a lot about relationships. In Harvard, there is a whole research that was done for 75 years. You can hear a TED talk on that. For 75 years, they followed 3-4 generations of the same families. And they interviewed family members, heads of families, everything. And they made a whole amazing data available. And the most important thing that stood out in all the data they brought is happiness in life has always come about by rich relationships, rich human relationships. That stood out as one of the most important highlights of that research. This is amazing. It's very amazing. And that's what Vedic society previously teaches us about. Relationships are central to human living because they give you the maximum amount of security, happiness, learning, education, culture, everything. And that's missing a lot. We are challenged with technology, we are challenged with globalization, we're challenged with certain types of an economy, and we're challenged with differences in terms of religion. All this because of a lack of a godful society. And there is no mincing words and saying this, although people like to speak a little bit differently, try to be politically correct. I'm not trying to be that here because there's a community of Indians mostly here, and they all know what I'm saying. We dedicate ourselves from International Society for Krishna Consciousness to revive communal relationships on the basis of the Supreme Godhead in the center. And this temple is an epitome of that type of revival, of that type of a philosophy, that type of a lifestyle. All ISKCON centers focus on community building. building it on the basis of the Supreme Godhead in the center, and having rich relationships. In the Bhakti Rasamrita and the Upadeshamrita, Rupa Goswami says relationships consist of 6 important interactions. It says that dadati pratigrihanati kuhyamakyati prichati bhungte bhojayate chaiva satvida priti lakshanam. Loving relationships between people are characterized by 6 things. 1, giving gifts to people, accepting gifts from others who give you. Guhyamakyati prichati means I'm able to confidentially state some things to somebody, things that I want to get off my chest, something that's troubling me, some interaction or some relationship problem or something else that's affecting me. I can meet somebody who is senior to me, elder to me, and I can confide in him. And it is confidentially maintained. I can confide. And Guhyama Bhungte Bhojayate Chaiva. I invite you to take lunch in my house or food in my house, and you invite me and I eat with you. Alright? Prabhupada is explaining there, and this is a book of Rupa Goswami. These are 6 things that enrich relationships. And Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada explains there that the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is established to enrich relationships amongst human beings on the basis of the 6 functions. He said, Dadati Pratigrihanati. We invite you and we give you experience of Krishna, a Krishna experience. That's the offer. Then we give you wonderful food to eat as Krishna Prasadam. And then you can hear music, you can dance with us, you can hear philosophy. This is the offering. And then you become so happy with that offering that it lightens my heart, it enriches my consciousness, it helps my children to develop a cultural perspective. And I'm so happy with you. I like to give you something. I give you a contribution. I help you in some way to establish this more so we will all benefit. Pratigrihanati. And I come and consult with you. I have this problem in my family. I have this problem in my head. I have this problem in the thinking. And there are counselors, devotees who are experienced who also will help you with counseling you, mentoring you, and helping you tide past those difficult times that you may have. Right? Kukyamakyati prachati. Then of course, ISKCON is very famous for prasadam and eating all over the world. Prabhupada titled it as the greatest kitchen religion in the world. He said we cook prasadam and we feed people by offering it to the Lord, and they develop love for God simply by eating this good food. So ISKCON runs restaurants, ISKCON gives free food everywhere and invites people for festivals. And truly speaking, I travel the world and I think I eat the best food in ISKCON temples, because they offer to the Lord the best food with the best preparation, the best items, highest standard, etc. So this is a framework, foundational framework and the cornerstone of establishing good community and relationships amongst everybody. Our lives become very, very interesting to live and exciting, exhilarating, and with a good vibration when our relationships are very good. And our relationships are threatened a lot these days with technology, like I mentioned, the economy, the globalization and everything that goes on. So to counteract that, we need these type of communities. We need this type of assistance, help and guidelines so that we can make our life rich. So the ISKCON community definitely is going to play a very key role in many people's life. It's already doing all over the world, and establishing a temple here is going to help us further it. And we like to invite everybody into that community so that we can actually enrich their lives, make everybody happy on the basis of Krishna consciousness, on the basis of having Krishna in the center. Be it children, be it adults, be it youth, for all of them, ISKCON has got various different types of activities. And I'm just coming from a Kirtan Mela in Malaysia. And all the youth in Malaysia got together. There's a whole lot of them in a historical city called Malacca. And for 5 days, they were jumping and dancing. I never saw them so happy in my life. I mean, talk about the challenges as youth have. But they were dancing and leading kirtans and playing musical instruments. I thought they were the happiest people I've ever seen, because they were reveling in that music and dance and focusing on the Lord, hearing the sound vibration. So youth get engaged very wonderfully. Children get engaged in learning wonderful stories of Krishna and performing activities that are enriching to them. And all the adults also get engaged in hearing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, worshipping the deity, coming closer to the Lord. And they're very happy to see that the children are taking part in this, and they're becoming responsible individuals in society, and they take their responsibilities seriously. And this is what we want to see. We want to see people individually build themselves up internally and become strong individuals. If there are units like that in society, then society on the whole becomes very strong. This is what is called Ram Rajya, because today we witnessed Lord Ramachandra's beautiful wedding ceremony. Don't just carry it off as a ritualistic performance that you saw. You must actually deeply go into it, because Lord Ramachandra, he gave a guarantee. Sakrit eva prapunno tava asmiti cha uchyate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadami etam vratam mama. He said that even if once, Sakrit eva prapunno tava asmiti cha uchyate, if somebody comes to me and surrenders, says, even once, I am yours, Lord Ramachandra, then I am bound to actually protect him throughout his existence. What to speak of life alone. Abhayam sarvabhut dadami evatam vratam mama. That is my vow, that I'll protect that person and shelter him and give him all help and everything that he needs. So the International Society of Krishna Consciousness wants to create such a community where you'll be able to say more than once to Krishna, I belong to you, because it's so wonderful to be with devotees in this community, have relationships, sing and dance and feast, and have security through relationships, and get counseled, and have everything possible that a human being desires. And definitely on top of that, Krishna is saying, I protect you. Ma Sucha, don't worry. Right? So this was the plan of Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada. This is a reality. Krishna protects you. Supreme Godhead protects you. God is a reality. And if you connect through Bhakti Yoga, through the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, definitely you will be protected. And this guarantee was given by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He said, if you chant Hare Krishna and take part in devotional service to Krishna in the community of wonderful devotees, you will be secured, you will be happy, and at the end of life, you'll go back to Godhead, and forever you'll be secure. So I will end these words here because I've been given 20 minutes to speak and I've crossed it a little bit already. Thank you very much for your presence here, and I hope all of you will take part in this community building. It's very vital and important, and make your contributions so that this wonderful temple comes up and we will see this community expanding unlimitedly. Thank you. Hare Krishna.